Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing well. Thank you so much for helping me to hit 60 subscribers, which I know, and I've said this before, I think when I hit 50, but like these are small numbers in YouTube terms, but when you're first starting out, every like little milestone is really exciting. So thank you so much for your support. Thank you for enjoying my videos. And yeah, I hope you will continue to enjoy them. So please stick around, because if it dips below that now, it's going to be really sad. I've had quite a lovely weekend actually, although yesterday we were going to go for like a nice long bike ride because it was a beautiful day, all good. And then someone had stolen my bike seat. Now, and I said to my husband, I was like, I'd almost be less annoyed if somebody just took the whole bike. Like, why just the bike seat? What is the point? But anywho, we'll recover, I'm sure. And anyway, it kind of means that it's given me quite a good excuse to speed up the buying a new bike process, so I'm very excited. Today I wanted to continue my little kind of music college themed little series, and it's talking about finding the right teacher for you during your time at college. Now, this is arguably the most important decision you will make over and above where you study and what the college is like and where it's placed and all that kind of thing. Your teacher will be the biggest influence on your playing itself, but also just on your college experience and your mental well-being a lot of the time. So this is a really big decision, and one that I urge you not to take lightly. I also just want to say that if you are not in music college, maybe you've graduated, and if that's the case, thank you very much for tuning in. But please do take some of these things on board. They apply to teachers, you know, across the board, no matter how old you are or what stage of life you're in. To be honest, I've only really gotten some of this stuff right in the last few years. Now found a teacher that I really enjoy working with and really suits me, and that's been quite an exciting thing, because you see your playing change and improve a lot in a short space of time when that happens. So do not worry if you are out of college. Don't feel like you've missed the boat, because you definitely haven't. There is always time. And also, I do want to say, don't think that just because you've left college you need to stop having lessons. I would say that I've learnt as much leaving, probably, I mean more in some respects, but teacher, lesson, pupil-wise, I've learnt as much since leaving college. So definitely keep going with the lessons. They don't have to be every week. Goodness knows, none of us can afford that. But they are still really helpful, and they can be good little kind of playing MOTs along the way. I do want to say, just before I get into this video properly, that picking a teacher is something that is so personal to the individual. So I've tried to keep this kind of as broad as I possibly can, but obviously a lot of this are my own just opinions and what I look for in a teacher, but I have done quite a bit of research and asking around a lot of my colleagues as to what they found good about teachers, what they didn't, what they looked for, and all of these things. So I have included those in this as well. So if there's something in here which you're like, I think that's dumb, then I'm sorry, but I'm also not sorry, because so the first thing to really knuckle down is, how do you learn? Do you benefit from being pushed really hard, or do you need a slightly more nurturing approach? Do you work best when you feel like you're doing really well and you're being encouraged, or do you actually need the motivation of feeling like you're not quite achieving your best yet? Do you need to be surrounded by other people and get the competition from them, or do you need to be somebody that kind of gets your head down, stays in your bubble, stays in your lane, and focuses on what you're doing? Get yourself a notebook or chat through with a friend, however you process things best, and really knuckle down these answers, because they will make choosing the right teacher for you just so much easier, and you'll save a lot of time and a lot of money. I know it's kind of obvious, but every teacher is completely unique, and they will mold your playing more than anyone else. So a good way of knowing what the kind of long-term impact of somebody's teaching is to listen to as many players as you can. Lots of colleges will hold public masterclasses and things. Go along to them, listen to players from that college. If you like what you hear, find out who their teacher was. And if it's appropriate, ask the person, what are they like? What are their methods like? Do you enjoy being taught by them? Because you want to find out, will their method work for you? Because if their method doesn't work with you as an individual, then it doesn't matter how good their reputation is, you're not going to get the most out of those lessons. Consultations are always a little bit strange, I think, because you're effectively interviewing each other, but whilst you're playing and whilst they're kind of critiquing you, but also trying to help, and it's a bit of a strange scenario. But have as many consultation lessons as you possibly can. I know that they're often very expensive, and for that reason, I say do your research prior so that you can kind of whittle down the list a little bit and find out what teachers you're interested in. But once you've found somebody who kind of looks like they might work well with you, it is absolutely vital to have a lesson with them, because you don't actually know if you're going to work well together until you meet them, until you have that face-to-face time and you witness what they're actually like in a lesson environment. Have more than one consultation. Even if you think you've hit a home run in the first lesson that you have and you're like, yep, this is my teacher, this is who I want to go with, have another consultation lesson with another teacher from the college that you're interested in going to, because this was my main mistake. I only had consultation lessons with one teacher, and we got on very, very well, and I was like, yes, I think, he could really benefit my playing. But actually it wasn't the best fit for me overall. So I would definitely say that I wish I'd had more consultation lessons prior to actually going to college, just so that I had a few more options to choose from. If you're wanting to pursue an orchestral career, it makes sense to have lessons from an orchestral player. If they are currently in an orchestra, then that's an absolute double winner, because they will know what the industry is like at this exact time. Having a teacher that has first-hand experience of the industry you want to go into is just absolutely invaluable. They'll have the best advice for you going into that industry, and also they'll be able to tell you what it's actually like. Also, if you're thinking of pursuing a chamber career, then have lessons with somebody who is a well-known chamber musician. You can absolutely specify and narrow things down and get somebody who is an expert in the field that you're interested in. However, it is worth saying that lots of people change their career focus as they go through college. It's perfectly normal, it's perfectly okay, and your teacher should be able to support you in that change as well. Just because somebody is an amazing player does not necessarily mean that they're going to be a really good teacher. They are very, very different skills. But don't get starstruck though and forget that they do need to be able to explain what they're doing. They need to be able to break technique down in order to be able to teach it. Personality is important because you've kind of got to get on to a certain degree. In my view, again, as with all of this is hugely, hugely subjective. But for me, I need to get on with my teacher. I need somebody who I find really inspiring, who I look up to, but also somebody who can just kind of have a bit of a chat and not be super intense all of the time. So for me, that was something that, again, I figured out through trial and error, really, and it's something that I really appreciate now in my current teacher. It's also really important to find a teacher that can adapt to you. Not everybody learns in exactly the same way. We're all physically built completely differently, so one way of doing something will not work for every single student. So it's really, really important that your teacher can adapt to that. If they start saying things like, my way is the only right way of doing it, or if I can't teach you, then nobody else can, you must be unteachable, and that last one, it's something that was said to me once, so it does happen. Those are complete, utter red flags, okay? So just really be careful of somebody who is set on one specific way of doing things, because if that works for you, then amazing. But if it doesn't, and they're not willing to adapt and change things slightly, then that can produce a really tricky relationship. We all know a teacher that has a reputation for being a bit scary, whether that's because they have a tendency to get really passionate about things and a bit shouty, or because their standards are so high that they make everybody feel like they're not achieving enough. Now, it is worth saying that for some people, these approaches work perfectly and they're exactly what they need. I have friends who will openly admit that they basically needed to be scared into practicing whilst they were at college. So I'm not saying that all of these things are inherently terrible and bad, because a teacher does need to be honest with you and they do need to be strict enough to really push you and keep you achieving to your best. You don't want somebody who isn't gonna mind if you practice or not, because that's not going to help you in any way, shape or form. However, and this is something which I really, really, really want you to hear me on, nastiness is not okay. If you find yourself with a teacher that mentally abuses you, is putting you down constantly just to make you work harder, or even just being intimidating because they like the power trip, that is not okay. I don't care who they are. I don't care how long they were an international soloist for. I don't care. Nobody has the right to make people feel terrible about themselves all the time. So if you find yourself in that position and it's not working for you, then know that you have every right to change teacher, even if your teacher and maybe a few other people at the college are making you feel like you don't. If you're not happy in that working relationship, you have the absolute right to change it. Now, like I said, teachers should push you, okay? And they should want you to do your best, and they may well get frustrated with you if you're not working hard enough. That's very, very different, okay? I'm not saying that a teacher that's hard on you is a bad thing, but there is a line between being hard on somebody and then just being plain nasty. So do be on the lookout, because it can tip too far in the negative sense. You need to make the effort of going to lessons really, really prepared. And this should go without saying, but I am absolutely guilty of it. I think we all are, really, of turning up to a lesson having not really worked as hard as we could have done. And therefore you kind of, you're kind of wasting their time. They know you're kind of wasting each other's time, and you just don't have a very good lesson. So respect the fact that your teacher is an incredibly highly skilled individual with an incredible wealth of expertise that they are willing to share with you. So don't take that for granted. But also, at the end of the day, you are the one paying for this lesson. So make sure that you turn up prepared with things that you want to work on. Obviously, they'll have an idea of what they think you need to be doing and what to do next. But if you're struggling with a particular aspect of your piece, maybe it's a specific technique or just that little section just won't go right, then make sure you bring it up. Ask them if you can work on it. Use the time to pair some material that you want to work on. After all, you hear your playing a lot more than they do, so your opinion on what you want to work on as well is absolutely valid. And if they do say, actually, it's not that that's the problem, it's actually this, then that's when you need to sort of hand over the reins and trust them on that. But like I said, always turn up with at least a few things that you're like, help me. I hope this goes some way in helping you to decide on what you are looking for in your teacher at music college. Like I said, they are going to be the most influential person on your playing. So it is a serious decision that I'm not going to make too much light of. I'm definitely somebody who's a little bit guilty of doing that too much. So take it seriously, think about it really, really hard, and remember that this is really, really exciting. You're about to get input from somebody who is actually out there doing what you're striving to do. And that's really cool. It's quite exciting. So yeah, enjoy the process, all the best with it. Please do like this video and subscribe to my channel. Hit the little notification bell, as then it'll tell you when I've uploaded. But I upload every Wednesday at 11 AM, so it's not too hard to remember, I guess. Have an absolutely amazing week, guys, and yeah, see you in the next one. Bye. And you completely forget what you're going to say next, because clearly it happens to us all. Prepare for... It's triggering. It's all very triggering.